Yo, okay, so check this out. Look what time it is, 2212, right? So I'm just gonna do a bit, right? Because this bit's been on my mind all day because, my man David Jose put a word in my mind and he made me think about the policy officers, the police officers, and the law enforcement people that are out there. And then I'm thinking about how the FBI is acting, and then I'm thinking about how the Department of Justice is acting, and I'm thinking about all these law enforcement servants who are just like not enforcing the law. They're just doing what they wish to do, man. So I had to hop on to the Ballotpedia because I wanted to come into the California Constitution, which is Article 1, and in Section 7 right here says some really important words, man. So check this out, man. This one's for God's people right now, man. This one's for you, okay? So check this out, right? Check out what text of Section 7 says. A person may not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law or denied equal protection of the laws, right? Provided that nothing contained herein or elsewhere in this Constitution imposes upon the state of California or any public entity, board, or officials any obligations or responsibilities which exceed those imposed by the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution with respect to those use of pupil school assignments or pupil transportation, blah, 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 right? So they started to get super wordy right here with it, right? But it's basically this first statement right here. A person may not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, right? You have to remember that, man. And you have to remember or denied equal protection of the laws, right? So an example of this would be is say if a policy officer tries to pull you over, right? And then, you could be traveling and moving around, just doing your thing. And then they're like, let me see your ID. And you're like, whoa, what are you talking about, dude? Why are you even talking to me like that, right? So you have to learn how to dress down your policy officers or all your law enforcement people because they don't know the law. Even though that they've all taken an oath to the Constitution, they don't know the law, man. So this is why it's very important for God's people to understand the Constitutions, right? All right. So check this out, right? So now we're in the Bill of Rights, right? So the Bill of Rights right here is also going to state something. I got to turn this volume down, man. Right? So check out the Bill of Rights, right? Text of Amendment 4, IV, right? Remember this, right? These are how you smack down all your law enforcement people when they try to come knock on your door and say, let me in, right? And you're like, dude, do you even have a warrant? Like, what are you even here for, man? So you have to learn how to speak to them, right? Because our law enforcement servants, they need to be educated in real time, right? That's why, I guess I'm going to start, having this on me, man. I'm going to carry a little piece of paper around with me that's basically going to be a notice. And then if they ever try to pull me over, I'm just going to slide that on over to them. And I'm going to say, here, man, read this before you even start, bro. Seriously, right? Check this out, right? So this is going to be text of Amendment IV, right? Also known for the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized, right? So the example of this right here is just, like I was watching a dude on the Facebook, right? And then the policies officers came to his house and then they were like, hey man, let me see your ID. And then the dude was just hanging out on his front porch and he was like, no, bro, what are you doing? Right? But then the police officers, the policy officers, they don't know the law, right? So what they did was that they went onto this man's porch, they put him in handcuffs, and then they took him off, right? Needless to say is that this man now has a case, right? And he's getting ready to sue the law enforcement officers for that because they were just acting outside of their boundaries, right? Because they don't understand what the Fourth Amendment means. And the Fourth Amendment means is that all people, man, first off, all people are free, bro. Scary simple, right? So you got to know these two amendments, man. So I just recommend that all of God's people, all men, all women, all children, right? Just walk around with the Fourth Amendment in your pocket, just be able to understand what this means, right? Because you're going to have to show it to the policy officers. especially if they pull you over, right? So if they pull you over and then they're trying to shake you down, right? Because, they're either trying to write a ticket because they think that you're in some type of commercial capacity, right? But you're just moving around and you're just traveling, right? So they're always going to try to shake you down for some money because they believe that all people, all men and all women are in the commercial capacity, right? So that's why they say, let me see your driver's license, right? So the moment that you show a driver's license, that indicates that you're in commerce and you're in some type of commercial capacity, right? That's why you have the right to remain silent, right? Remember that, right? So just make sure that you understand these two right here, right? So text of Section 7 in California, right, is the same as the Fourth Amendment, right? So once you know those, you know what's up, man. But then also remember this right here. So this is the way that we bind all of our public servants, right? It's because they all have to take an oath of office, right? California oath of office, right? So check that out, right? So there goes our public servant governor, right? So our governor had to take the oath of office, right? It's in Article XX in California, right? Section 3, right? XX means 20 of the Constitution of California, right? And it says right here, members of the legislature and all public officers and employees, executive, legislative, and judicial, except such inferior officers and employees as may be by law exempted, shall, before they enter upon the duties of their respective offices, take and subscribe the following oath or affirmation, right? So all of our law enforcement servants have said this, right? They've all sworn an oath, right? And this is what they all said. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? Remember that, man. I'm not even going to read the rest, right? But every state, all of our states, this is what all of the law enforcement servants have all sworn an oath to, right? So if they're ever trying to shake you down and they're ever trying to say, let me see your ID, right? Or, pull over because they put the lights on or something like that. Just remember, you ask them the question, did you take an oath, right? And did you take an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, right? Do you understand what the Fourth Amendment is, right? Do you understand that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, right? So if they try to pull you over, right, and they try to say, well, we're doing a stop because we want to see if you've been drinking, right? That's a violation of your Fourth Amendment, man. That's also a violation if you're in California of text of Section 7, right? In the California, in our Bill of Rights, I'm sorry. Are these our Bill of Rights? I'm bugging out right now. These are Declaration of Rights, right? So in California, we have the Declaration of Rights, right? And then in the United States Constitution, they have the Bill of Rights, right? So they can violate, so if they're going to violate the Declaration of Rights, text of Section 7, right? That's the same as violating the Bill of Rights, Amendment 4, right? And because every public servant has all sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution, man. And then if you get confused on that, we like to use Justia right here because here goes the United States versus Guest 383 US 7451966, right? And now look at what this one says right here, right? So if a state participates at all in conspiracy, it has violated the 14th Amendment with regard to any individuals whose rights are infringed based on the constitutional right to travel, right? So everybody can travel, man. We can all go from state to state as we wish, man. No public servant can tell us that we cannot move, man. So every man, every woman, you are free to move, man. It's really simple, right? So check this out right here, right? So we got 42 U.S. Code 1983, civil action for deprivation of rights, right? So here goes the civil action for deprivation of rights, right? Every person who under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia subjects or causes to be subjected any citizen of the United States or other persons within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable. Remember that, shall be liable to the party injured in action at law. Okay, you take them to court now. Suit and equity. Okay, you get them, you hit them in their pocketbooks now, or other proper proceedings for redress, right? Remember that. We dress them down, we put them in a straight line. Except that in any action brought against a judicial officer for an act or omission taken in such officer's judicial capacity, injunctive relief shall not be granted unless a declaratory decree was violated or declaratory relief was unavailable. For the purpose of this section, any act of Congress applicable exclusively to the District of Columbia, remember that, shall be considered to be a statute of the District of Columbia, right? So this gives you your parameters right here, right? So if any, policy officer or law enforcement entity tried to make you do something outside of the District of Columbia because they try to bind you to a statute, you can get them every time for deprivation of rights under the color of law, man. Here's the law for you right here, right? So here I'm going to show you the law enforcement, right? So there goes what they call police, right? Those are police officers on patrol, right? But look at what law enforcement is. Law enforcement is any system by which some members of society act in an organized manner to enforce the law by discovering, deterring, rehabilitating, or punishing people who violate the rules and norms governing the society, right? So now you have to remember, so once these entities right here take the oath to the Constitution, that puts them under the jurisdiction of we the people, because the people have written the constitutions, right? And then all of our public servants, all of our government entities have to adhere, and they're bound to those rules, man. So if any of these entities called law enforcement, right, law enforcement servants harm the people, right, because they are trying to basically misidentify, or they're trying to move the people into a different jurisdiction by calling them a persons, right, or by calling them a driver, right, or by saying that they're in traffic, right, or doing anything like that, right, you can get them with deprivation of rights under the color of law. And then that's how we just put them in place for now on, man, because they all sworn an oath, right? So just remember, right? Remember these two right here. You got your Bill of Rights, right? Text of Amendment 4. Remember that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, right? They can't mess with you, and no warrants shall be issued, right? But upon probable cause, man. They got to show you why they're coming in. Like if they want to knock on your door and come in, they better have a warrant, right? And it better be sworn, right? You better be able to see it, right? They can't just come in there and violate you anymore, man. So this is what's up now, right? So now we need to just teach the people how to use these words, right? And then if you have it on a little piece of paper that already says that, hey man, I'm just giving you notice right now. I'm giving you notice right now that says if you do anything to me, I'm getting you for deprivation of rights under the color of law, man. It's that simple now, man. All right, so that's it. I just had to get this off of my head, right? Because the policy officers, man, they just, I was just watching them, and then, now we're just going to know how to put them in check, man, because, these are our servants. Remember, all law enforcement people are the servants of we the people, because we the people have given them the ability to do what they can do because we're the bosses of the Constitution. Scary simple, right? All right, I'll talk to you guys in the future. Remember, nobody's having more fun than us. Bye.